This past summer, I worked hard alongside all the other drummers to raise $100,000 to go to Washington, D.C. and perform the Independence Day Parade.
I mean, it just takes a lot of hard work, because it took a lot of hard work to get $100,000. That's not no pocket change.
We got to learn more history about it.
Another history class lesson outside of school, but actually being there and experiencing and being able to see all these things made it more enjoyable than sitting in the classroom.
And I hope other people get a chance to do the things that I did.
It was honorable because not a lot of high schools or schools period get a chance to go and participate in things like that. So I felt honored that Grant got selected to go.
It's just a different feeling. It makes you like open my eyes more.
I'm just honored that I was one of the ones who got to go.
And I'm glad everybody who went got the experience, and something that I don't think anybody who took place in will forget.
Just putting smiles on people's faces made us feel like, wow, we made it and everybody's proud of us.
The challenges was a lot of people didn't think we were going to be able to raise $100,000.
No, run that back.
I had no idea that it would be where it's at right now.
Is it too tight here, or is that cool?
No, that's cool.
We first introduced you to instructor James Van Buren, Mr. V, last night, teaching in an area where dropping out and getting into trouble is so easy. He brings stability and accountability.
Extremely important. Look at your drum.
They get out of line, I put them back. I give them room, but at the same time, I let them know exactly what I expect, and I raise the bar really high.
That high bar is the reason his students are successful in music and life.
If V wasn't there, I mean, I probably wouldn't have nobody to come to on the side. Mr. V's like always there, like when I need him.
It's exactly that success that's making the Grant Drumline so popular. They were even invited to the Independence Day Parade in Washington, D.C. next year. They've been playing gigs to raise money for the trip. Good Morning America's Robin Roberts found out and invited them to play a private party in Hollywood.
Drumline's never been out of Sacramento.
I'm very excited. I've been thinking about it all this week.
Prepared a few songs.
Yeah.
The party was a ruse, though, setting Mr. V and the kids up for a much larger surprise.
Take Mr. V and show him his face.
After whisking Mr. V away, the kids were let in on the secret.
You are going on stage on the Jimmy Kimmel stage.
Please welcome Robin Roberts.
As you may have seen, Jimmy Kimmel teamed up with Robin Roberts, including the Grant Drumline on ABC's Thank You America. It's an opportunity kids from neighborhoods like this rarely get.
Are you proud of them?
Hey, I get goosebumps talking about it, and I get choked up. I'm a crier. I'll cry, but it's good crying.
This is where we get real quiet once we cross this door.
Can we cue the drum line?
Yeah! Look who's here!
But there was another surprise in store. Thank You America was about thanking those who do so much and get so little recognition. People exactly like Mr.
Talking about playing for the president? Is that what you were talking about?
Yes.
That's July 4th, a big event, big parade there in Washington, D.C., and we know that you all have been working really hard in raising funds so you could go there. Marriott International, they're going to provide all the hotel rooms in Washington, D.C.
Senator Guillermo, here he is. Look at this.
A check for an additional $20,000.
We've been keeping a lot of secrets lately. How do you do this?
This was really fun, bringing them here to Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know how you guys did that and keeping them in the dark, but to see when Jimmy and I said, what's that, Mr. V? And then the camera goes to him and he's looking around like, his true love for them. He's just so selfless, like many teachers are, but there's just something special about him and the way he really wants them to have this opportunity to be whatever it is that they want to be.
He helped me mature as a person and as an adult.
making me turn around from being a shy kid to a happy kid. Thank you, Mr. V.
We love you.
Thanks, Mr. V.
I mean, it made me feel so good. So good, yeah, I almost felt like crying. You know, I go, come on. But I'm not gonna cry not live on national TV. It's not gonna happen.
But what is happening is the world finally getting to see this school and these students in the light they deserve, and most importantly, how Mr. V sees them.
I have a group of kids that actually see a possibility of having a bright future. Yeah, it's beautiful.
If you don't have goals for yourself or you just want to be a part of the street life, like that's not really going to get you anywhere in life. So why don't you just want to succeed and make something out of yourself?
Football season begins tonight, but it is not all about the football players.
The Grant High School Drumline has been invited to play in Washington, D.C. for the 2015 National Independence Day Parade. And KCRA 3's May Fasai is live in Sacramento with the drummers and what they're planning to do to raise the funds. May.
Well, guys, what they're planning to do is show off their mad skills. That's what they're about to do. Hit it, guys. This is the Grant High Drumline right here. Check out exactly why they have been invited by the U.S. House of Representatives to play at that National Independence Day Parade that's taking place next year, but they cannot do it without your help. They are trying to raise $100,000. So far, they have 10. This means a lot to these students to be able to raise that money. You can donate. Go on our website, ktra.com, and we have a link for you to be able to help these kids.
All of y'all sound good. And we don't claim to be the baddest. We just claim to be the busiest in the state. And when it comes to doing it like this, there is no better.
Okay.
There is no better. Grant High School is going to be the first all-girl drum line that is successful. There are other girls' drum lines, and you can go on YouTube and you can type in all-girl drum lines. But I will take my all girls that I have right now and compare them to any girls in the nation, and just flat out, they'll beat them. For 5 years straight in a row, there's always only been one girl on drumline. Always. And I would say 2012, we got an influx of girls.
My name is Classy Bent, and I'm 17 years old, and I'm a junior here at Grant Union High School. And Mr. V, he said I was a good bass player, and he said I was really solid. So I was just like, okay, so I was just like, maybe this is it fits me, so maybe this is for me. So I was just like, well, maybe I should just go for it, and maybe it can build up, and then now look where I'm at. Like when I'm in the hallway and like everybody started walking, like I want to come for the drum, I want to try, and I'm like, it makes me feel good because I feel like a big person, like a role model to freshmen and sophomores and stuff.
As everyone knows, we've been like mad crazy raising $100,000. We're at $90,000 right now. We'll be playing for the president in July. We are the official drum line of the state of California to participate in 2015 National Independence Day Parade, and these kids are stoked and ready to go. But we have an awesome football team, but we also have an awesome drum line to match that power, and that's what's beautiful about it.
Let me ask you a hard question. Do you like your job?
I love my job. I think I told you, on your video, the first time you interviewed me, I said I could do this job for the rest of my life and not get a raise and I'd be good.
a group of Grant High School students is going on the trip of a lifetime. They are going to Washington, D.C. to play the National Independence Day Parade.
And Drumline Director James Van Buren is joining us now live from Grant, where they're getting ready to leave. Good morning, James.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Probably not as good as you, though. What an amazing opportunity for these kids. What do you hope they get out of it?
It is an amazing opportunity, but I didn't hear that last question. What did you say?
What do you hope the kids get out of this great experience?
Oh, listen. If they understand the rich history that is in Washington, D.C., if they understand, they get the opportunity to perform, that's beautiful, the experience of all the monuments, and then the once-of-a-lifetime chance of actually meeting the president. We're still waiting on that, Claire, making sure that that goes through. But listen, even if they never saw the president, all the other things that they do, the space museums, the Smithsonian, the Lincoln Monument, the Capitol Mall, performing in Washington, D.C., it all is an incredible experience.
So how did you guys get this opportunity? How were you picked to do this?
What ended up happening is we were nominated by Congresswoman Doris Matsui. We filled out applications and we sent it in, and based upon our performance and videos and other stuff, we were elected. As a representative of California.
Well, it sounds like an amazing trip. Have a safe one, and it sounds like you and the kids have a lot to do here in the next couple of days. Maybe take a nap on the plane, just to kind of rest.
My name is Classy Lit, and I'm a singer, and I play on the drum line, and I play the snare, and yeah.
My name is Alfred Reams. I'm 16, and I am a junior. I participate on the Grand Drum Line, and I also participate on the football team. And just recently this summer, we were invited to go play for the president in the Independence Day Parade.
Oh, those are all mine.
That's the coolest part.
Those are all
Yeah, he just knocks.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just
My dad.
That's like, as soon as we say go, My name is Kayla Coleman. I'm a senior, and I play the snare on the drum line. I've been on the drum line since my freshman year, and I'm also the drum major for the band.
It took a while for us to raise the money and all the funds to get to DC, but it was fun doing it. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it even more after we accomplished what we did and we ended up getting to DC.
This past summer, I worked hard alongside all the other drummers to raise $100,000 to go to Washington, D.C. and perform the Independence Day Parade.
Oh, I'm working on it.
Yep.
Turn around.
No need.
This summer I went to Washington, D.C. and I performed in the Independence Day Parade for the drum.
My favorite part watching the video was when Mr. Augustine and Miss Providence were dancing and singing at the airport, and they were just like, they were just feeling it like they always do, and being comfortable made me comfortable because I knew I was about to see a whole bunch of faces that I didn't know, and then having them there made me more comfortable.
I'm Benny Augustine. I work at Grant High School. I've been here for 28 years. I work in special education. I've been working in special education for 28 years. I'm involved with the workability program. I have a program with the kids that I take to community and get jobs for them and be a job coach out there with them. I've been doing that for 25 years.
Yeah, why not?
I asked him that, he said, he thinks it's yours, right? I got this.
The gateway Wreath-Laying is arriving. Please stay clear of the doors. The next train will arrive shortly.
It took a lot of hard work and dedication and it took about a year to do to raise. We had to raise $100,000.
My name is Classy Ben, and I have never been on an airplane before. This is my first time doing this. I am very excited, and I'm really nervous but scared at the same time.
My name is Damari. This is my first time being on a airplane, and it's scary, but it's worth it because we've been through a whole lot, me and my sis, and I just hope we get there safe.
All right, who are you?
I'm Kayla Coleman.
You ever been on a plane before?
No.
You got any thoughts or any concerns?
No, I'm just a little nervous.
You done yet?
It's my first time. It's not.
He got that. I was just looking. I was like, y'all wouldn't tell me.
I have to say, being on the plane with all my friends and all my family, I think it was a great experience because some of us have never flown on a plane before.
It was cool because, like, Drumline as a group, we never got the chance to be able to go out of state, let alone across the country, as a group together. So going out to DC to do that march was fun.
That's where the wings at. The window.
She's B-55? Oh, that's right. They dogged this out.
Well, to get there, we had to raise money by performing, going to different gigs every week and every weekend, during holidays sometimes, getting our drums there, getting us there and back.
The plane, I was nervous because it's my first flight, but I think I scared myself more than I should have been because 5 minutes into the flight, I was okay. I was sitting with Amir. He didn't want to let me sit by the window because he thought I was going to have panic attacks, but I was cool.
My name is Chong, and I am a bass player in Grand Drumline. Last summer we were selected to play for the Independence March. We were selected as to represent California.
There was no Geo.
Please report to Level 3 East and Information Desk.
Well, my name is Imani Ryan, and I'm a pacerette, and my role was to be a performer inside the President's Parade March.
There's one part, me and Classy was doing our little handshake that we got. Our handshake is dope. Well, nobody got a better handshake than us.
All right. Miss Tamara. Miss Tamara, will you get all your pacerettes to one side of the counter?
The favorite part of my DC trip was just seeing the kids get on the plane, seeing them excited, seeing them, explore different things. I mean, as soon as we got into the airport, they were ecstatic. Some of them had never seen the inside of an airport. By far my favorite thing.
Right? All right, I'm good. All right. That's all I wanted.
My name is Harry Block. I'm a resident of Del Paso Heights. Been here for about 40 years almost, and I've been a volunteer at Grant High School here for the last 25 to 30 years. I do the scoreboard, I work with the kids, I bring programs to the school, and just do everything that I can for this community. And I also work at the Mutual System Network. I'm the community liaison, which help with outreach and reaching people's downtown that we need to talk to and doing things. I'm more like a community activist and just love it.
Get it. Yeah, that's all. It will take up more than that. That's not the. It will take up that, and that.
Alex, our bus driver, he was tight, he was cool. He played nice music. We had a nice little tour guide. She knew a lot about DC. The bus itself was nice. And it was comfortable, so.
Boy, it's cold in here.
It was pretty fun because it was just like everybody was getting to know each other and we were having fun and listening to music and dancing and everyone just having a joyful time. The bus driver was awesome. The lady, our mentor, she was amazing. And it was just a good time on the bus.
We made it.
Yup.
Oh, I thought it was you. Get yourself out of my walk. The higher I go, your head is still there. Yeet! What up? Yeet! That's the Maserati. Look, I take you up here. I said, look.
My favorite part about this trip is that, well, I never get a chance to go out of state, so it was a good experience how, just to see like a new environment, like it's so different from here.
Miss Romero, Miss Coleman. I'll look at the keys. Hey, your breakfast vouchers are in there. Mr. Rip. Mr. Foreman and Mr. Richards.
You! Get away from me. Hey, hey. You sitting there sitting? Hi.
What'd you say?
Hi. I got a room to myself. Go to the pool.
So,
That doesn't mean don't save me a seat. Good morning.
Good morning.
A healthy breakfast.
Yeah.
You getting our plates?
Yes, I said it. Better now.
Very nice life.
Okay, so my favorite part about DC is really just being with the students. I didn't have a specific thing, but being with them at the hotel and eating with them and seeing their eyes light up of things they've never seen. Just being on the airplane. We have so many students never been on the airplane. So really being with the students and the new experiences that they have was my favorite part of the trip.
It's really 4:45.
Now that he has a second.
Real bite. Really bite the food.
Hi, we just got to DC yesterday. We woke up this morning, it's bright and early. We're on our way to, I think, Howard University. We're all having a good time. The hotels were nice, and yeah.
Of all the historical monuments, museums, which one was your favorite?
I would say being able to step on Howard's campus and being able to see all the fraternities and the sororities, their images on the trees that they have at their promenade area.
What's that?
They're like different states. People look
Angelina
different.
Jolie.
Being on the bus, I was just sitting in the back like I always do, and I would just look out the window and take in all the scenery around me because DC is so different from California, and I was just like soaking everything in because you don't get to see that every day being over here. Denny was dancing on the bus before we went to the mall, I believe. He was crazy. He always dancing and singing.
Is the solution to the world's problems today. Let's take a look at the family.
Oh man, I never thought this would happen. I would be able to go to the White House. And I went to the White House, went to DC. It was just a blessing, first of all, to get on a plane and go there and not be afraid, because I never flown before. I got to DC, we were so excited. We got me and a couple of the other chaperones. We walked around the White House. We went too close to the White House, and we had some people tell us we were in the wrong territory. So that was the first experience to see what was going down there. Next thing, just to be in DC, to just feel that, to be there, be able to be there with Obama still in office. You know, I never thought a young man at my age would be there. You know.
I will come out. Yep.
When we went to go visit the state capitol, and we got to see all the statues that are inside, and then we got to see a statue that represents our state of California, and then we got to learn things like different things from Rosa Parks to MLK, George Washington, stuff they don't really teach us in school, but we got to learn more history about it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're ready to keep coming all the way into the chamber. There we go.
Keep moving, guys.
Pacers all the way to the right, baby.
Oh, to the right.
Over the past summer, I went on a trip to DC, the drum line, which was so beautiful. All the kids, all the staff, and everything that we've done. You know, it really, when I got there, I was able to go around and visit different places in Washington, D.C.
1864, and it's a major repair right now. I mentioned downstairs that the dome is made out of cast iron. Big giant donut up there in the ceiling, that's a part of this. It will remain there. This is that reading declaration. To do this, the House and Senate will pass a law to make up general habit. We have had one female to be honored with a funeral. Yes, October 2005, it is Rosa Parks. Very good, very good. In 2013, she is made out of bronze. She is made out of bronze. There are only 9 female statues out of the group of 100. Okay, so Dr. King was commissioned by the House and Senate in the year 1986, which was the year that his birthday became. Right. So when he arrived, the statue was placed. So where he was actually the hallway back here down on the first floor. And again, he was not in an area that the public would see him. So Mrs. King goes to Congress and says, hey, and it's very rare that statues are moved because it's expensive and it's time consuming as well. But Congress moved him from the original location up here. This is the first African-American male statue for the building. Mrs. King wanted him to appear to be in prayers. His bow. And this is a bust and not a full-length statue. John Wilson stands right before Congress commissioned him to make this statue. Made a full-length statue of Dr. King, and this one's that one. So he and Mrs. King got together and decided what they were going to do.
Hey, what's up, Pacers? We just got done touring. We seen the dome. We seen a lot of statues. I'm here with, what is your name, sir?
Amir Rapes.
So, did you see a lot of stuff you haven't seen before and did something you haven't did before?
Yeah, it's something I've never experienced before. Probably won't ever experience again. It was very fun and very enjoyable. A lot of memories that I will have from this event.
Did you take a lot of pictures on your cellular device?
Yes, I did.
Are you going to post them on Instagram?
Yes, I will.
You heard it here live at the U.S. Capitol. I'm James Majors. Good night.
Good night.
Sanchez, can you get me on camera? Tell us Sanchez to take off.
And you took a map and you just put from 1864 to present day, and where the black population is exactly the same. So Maryland and Maryland, DC, Virginia area, especially Maryland, Prince George's County, is the highest population African Americans with the highest amount of income. And so they make things happen faster here. And so because we're regulated to live in this area, they pretty much just made it their own. This is a Mason building, but it's the Prince Hall. And so these are the black Masons. They're here. The statue was designed and conceived, and they actually have it here. And when you only hear about the Massachusetts 54th, it had how many soldiers that fought over here? That's what the number says. No, it says the number. Right here. Here it is. 209,000. 209,145 names. When we go to the Vietnam Memorial, there's over 67,000 names.
One of my favorites, there were several, but one of my favorites was the African American Civil War Memorial. I never heard about that before, and I never heard about the number of black soldiers that died in the Civil War, and that there was a tribute to them. And so for me, that was really, really poignant and deep, because I felt, why don't we hear about that? And what their contribution and their death rate in the Civil War. So that was one that was really, really meaningful to me, and to the degree that I'm going back to Washington, D.C. with the SES Summit, and I'm taking my family there to see that.
It allowed for the loyalty of those border states to go with the union as opposed to the Confederate. Yes, right? And so we did not give us our freedom, we earned it. We earned it.
The African American Museum, Civil War Museum, was one of the ones that really stood out to me because I learned so much new information about not only the Civil War, but the African American men who came from slavery and were able to fight for their country.
Certificate that says they fought.
Wow, nice.
Right?
I don't know if I know.
All right?
Okay.
Okay.
Themselves to strike the blow. Wow.
Alright? Okay? So you guys look way over there, I think about 9 o'clock, you see the steeples, that is Georgetown, right? And then way up there you see that there is a cathedral, right there about 12 o'clock. That is the last place that Martin Luther King gave his Sunday sermon. The people who bought her condominium are going to be, they're from North Carolina, they're senators. Elizabeth Dole and her husband. They bought the condo. That's the kind of money we're talking about. Dole!
Thank you.
We're in Arlington, Virginia right now. We're about to participate in the Wreath-Laying ceremony.
The one that touched me was when we went to the grave where the kids are actually in that ceremony. But when we get up there and seeing them in Kayla in the ceremony, that was beautiful. That was my biggest memory. It would have been if I would have got to see Obama.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The ceremony that you are about to witness is an Army Wreath-Laying ceremony to be conducted by Grant Union High School. It is requested that everyone remain silent and standing during this ceremony. All military personnel in uniform will render the hand salute, and it is appropriate for all others to place their right hand over their heart upon the command of present arms. Thank you.
My favorite moment while we were there was most likely the laying of the wreath of the fallen soldier, because just recently after we got back, my Uncle Jay passed away, and he had served in the military. He wasn't a fallen soldier. Like the fallen soldiers, they're the people who couldn't make it back home because how cut down their body was, and they couldn't really have funerals, so that's what the laying of the wreath was for. But it felt good to pay respects to the fallen soldiers who served our country but weren't able to come home after passing away.
The best part was when we went to the laying of the wreath of the unknown soldier.
Why?
Because it was like we got to feel like all the kind of like not emotion but the vibe of everything, and it was just different because we were just paying our respects to the ones who fought for our country and why we're here today.
It felt good to be able to pay tribute to them and show our respects, and I was happy to be able to take place and actually lay the wreath.
And I think that's the first time in many years since I had a little. Just,
even thought about it?
Well, yeah. Until then, it just all came back. But I'm okay.
How'd our kids do?
They did great. They did great. They did better than some of the soldiers. That's why they did pretty straight. But not didn't rehearse it because they didn't rehearse it. So.
And the place that touched me the most was the tomb of the unknown soldiers and the grave site of all the soldiers that was there. I really got touched and brought back memories because I was stationed in the Army during the Vietnam War. I didn't go to Vietnam, but I went to Korea. But my friends came back and they were spit on and talked about as baby killers and so forth because they was across there fighting for what our country want us to believe in. And so we was mistreated by our country when we came back. Most of my friends that came back, some of them died there, some of them didn't come back. Some of them came back, and later on they had traumas. They had post-traumas from Vietnam and everything, and it was really touching just to see the soldiers and how they did, and our kids, and when they put the wreath up there. It was so amazing that they did this, and then I was just so touched by them doing this for our soldiers.
Looking at their face. Hola, sister.
Why?
Trying to pick up on colored chicks.
There's a dad. Who is that? Oh, that's a gang I'm in. They're called the Bobs.
We are at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Woohoo!
Yeah, we're gonna have our dinner here. We're gonna eat a lot and get fat. Right after walking for 2 miles? 5 miles? 5 miles. Yeah. My co-worker here.
Okay, stop.
Yeah. Wait, how did you do that? How do you put it back? Oh, let me see.
At the Hard Rock Cafe, we received some dope glow sticks. When you hit, they light up, which is tight. It was like off the new Drumline movie.
Free. And it says Hard Rock on it.
And another thing we did at the Hard Rock Cafe is that tell Mr. V we loved him, which we do. I appreciate Mr. V a lot personally. He's gave me experiences that I probably wouldn't have had if I didn't come to the drumming line. So I'm grateful for him.
Take off your headphones. We love you, Mr. V. Where's my phone? I want to make sure I send that back. Okay, whatever you
My role in the trip was just to support Mr. V and support the kids in anything they did as a chaperone. So it was a supportive role, just to make sure everything ran smoothly and help Mr. V with anything that he needed, both technical and chaperone. Well, generally, when you put drums or instruments through air and sitting in a warehouse and cold, hot, cold, they get untuned. They loosen up. So you have to tune them to make sure that you get the best results out of when they're hit. Okay, so tuning the drums, when you put them on a plane, obviously there's pressure that loosens up the drums and it detunes them. And then they sat in the warehouse for about a week, hot, cold. And then on top of that, it was raining. So you really want to give it a little tighter tune so that, throughout all the weather and the walking and the bouncing and all that stuff, it stays pretty well in tune and it doesn't get too far out of tune. So, they were looking good, so we need them to sound good too.
What? So it's like, yeah, but remember at the time, then they said no, we're Catholic. And now
Good morning.
you see everybody got on their own colors. I can have my white on looking like Miss Davis. I'm working my act, you don't know how to act. Hey, give me on, wait, let me get some drums going. Working that act, you don't know how to act, keep working.
Look what you did.
And then Miss Davy at the hotel when she was singing her song before we went to our march, I was just like, it made me feel like we were at home because I had all these people that I knew around me being themselves, so maybe we'd be myself.
There go my boss. Get my boss on the camera. Going on with the friends.
Got mine.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, all the band members. We're going to unload now, and then our support group, we're going to be right behind them. So just take what you need.
Water, what did I drop?
You want me to take the banner off?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. And we have the banner out.
Yes, go.
Well, my name is Tamara Eugene. Most people know me as Coach Tam. And I had the privilege and honor to assist Mr. V and the drum line on the trip as a pace direct coach, because the dancers danced in front of the drum line as they marched in the presidential parade.
You guys just a minute ago, you just proved to me what a hard belief. There is nothing like people are playing, and you hear great bands here, you'll hear great drum lines, you'll hear great people. But the moment you guys start playing, cameras came out and will gravitate toward you. So do what we do best. Keep it grand, alright? Yeah. Keep it grand. That's all I'm gonna say. Remember, the march is over as fast as it starts. Are you hot?
Yeah.
You should be doing this. That guy was he sweaty? No. Sweat, drop. So if he can be in full dress, ready, and not sweat, pick him up. Let's go. Let's get ready. Here's what we there for. Ready? Yes. Pull him out. Go.
Well, my favorite memories were being able to see all the schools and people that were there during the march and being able to perform and getting the feel of what it would be in a college experience, being able to perform.
The parade, it was a lot of people, and it was just people for miles, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. We played some classic songs throughout the parade, and I feel like we rocked it, did pretty good, and it was fun seeing the other bands before the parade started, and there was a whole bunch of talent there, and I'm glad everybody who went got the experience, and something that I don't think anybody who took place in will forget.
No, I wasn't nervous because it felt like just one of our regular performances, just that we were in DC made it more of a people probably had higher expectations for us.
My favorite experience about DC is playing the march. We were marching down the street, and we looked to the side, and like President Franklin was cheering us on, and that was just a great, amazing feeling.
The young ladies, and when I talk about the marching in the parade, I meant in total, the drum line and the pacerettes. And it was just beautiful to see how the students had this opportunity. They represented well everywhere they went. And it was just an experience, I know, that coming out of this type of situation here, Grand High School, Del Paso Heights area, to have that opportunity to go and be in Washington, D.C. and see all that was seen, and then to see how people responded to the young people when they saw them out and about. So for instance, we went to the 4th of July fireworks show. And so we went with a group of the girls, the pacerettes, and just to see just the beauty of the children in another environment and context, I think is just wonderful. And I am really honored and humbled to have been a part of that.
My favorite part, I had a lot of good memories, but my favorite is watching the Grand Drum Line and the Pacerettes getting the honor to march in the parade because they were performed in front of the president. Even though they couldn't see him, he saw them. And so I don't know if they realized how special that moment was, but that was a real special moment for me and for them as well, for me as their coach. As they marched, they practiced all year, they kept up their grades, and so that was a big moment that they had earned into that part. So that was one of my favorite and one of my biggest highlights of the Washington, D.C. trip.
It was like a lot of fans there, so it was like every street you walked down was like a gang of people. It was like left or right, so you know, it was wonderful.
The part that stuck out to me the most on the DC trip was when we finally made it to DC. We finally accomplished our goal. We finally made it to the Independence Day parade. Seeing all the smiling faces as we passed, it made me feel like all the work I put in was worth something. And in the future, I hope to put more smiles on other people's faces.
The parade, they showed me and James and they viewed on my quads. You know, I go crazy. So that was dope.
My favorite part about the parade was just playing in it, period, because a lot of bands don't get to do that kind of stuff, especially ones from this area.
One thing that's cool about while we was marching, we was walking just right across the Washington Monument, right? Yeah, and then yeah, we're just watching, and then what's really cool about it is that there was so much eyes on us, you know. There was so much people looking. There was just like walls of people, you know. But I really enjoyed the march too because I I thought it was gonna be long, you know, but I actually really enjoyed it, so it went by really quick.
It felt great because it was inspiring and positive.
Yeah, like Mr. V, when we were practicing over summer, he made us march so far for so long. Like the parade was gonna be 12 miles, and then we got there and it was only 10 blocks, I believe. I was like, this is so short. We practiced for at least a 30-minute march, and it would have to be like 10 or 15 minutes. So.
Tantalizing, accurate percussions are the words that are often used to describe the great Union High School drumline. It was started in 2009. The drumline is made up of 17 members. Director James Van Buren, also known as Mr. B, says the Grant drumline is said to be as cool and collected as President Obama. Their dress performance is unmatchable. Their cadences that they are employed by the drumline are energetic, cool, and jazzy, not rigid like most of the drumline. It has been said if you were to blindfold the mayor of Sacramento, Wisconsin, and have 10 different drumlines play, he can point out the Grant drumline the moment it started to play. Welcome to Washington, D.C.
My favorite part of the DC trip was to see the students march, the young people march, because of the impact of that opportunity, and I believe it's going to be an experience that they won't understand the full impact of it until years later. But to be able to march in a national parade from Del Paso Heights, it was just awesome to see it. And then also see the crowd response, not just our response who were there, but the other people who were around on the parade route, to see how they responded to the students, and then even afterwards. And so their impact and how they represented just that whole experience of marching in that parade, I think is going to be something that they'll tell their children about.
Favorite moment in DC was towards the end of the march when I seen all our Pacer family yelling out Pacers, because it made me feel like we were at home after seeing so many faces that I didn't know. Finally seeing a group of people that I didn't know made me feel.
It was fun because, like, as we were marching down, we just like made a lot of people smile, and especially our family that came with us, our Pacer family that came with us, and just putting smiles on people's faces made us feel like, wow, we made it, and everybody's proud of us.
while we were marching and all of our basic family was out there on the side, they would have face with us as we were walking by.
I'm Stephanie Romero, and we just got done doing the Independence Day Parade. It was really fun, and like it's something that I'll never get the chance to do again. So it's like a really good memory to have.
My name is Miss White. I'm one of the math teachers at Grant High School, and I drive a big truck and I carry all the drummers and all the drums to the different venues with Mr. V. Well, we finally did it. We got our money together, we got ourselves to Washington, D.C., and we marched down Constitution Avenue, 7 to 17. One of the few bands that actually made it to the National Parade as representative of the California state that we are all loving and budding from.
Well, how do you feel about the drumline? How'd they do?
Oh, the drumline was awesome. There's not a better group of kids on the planet, and same with the Pacerettes. I work with these kids during the school year, and I work with them at the drumline, and there's not a sour one in a whole bunch.
Well, you know, this pretty much does it. And I go, yo, you're right. And I found myself, people stopped because they go, oh, you got the money. And I didn't realize, but you know, you're caught up and you know, you pretty much think, yeah, it does it. We got the car, we got the hotel, we have the money, we're done. And I was so confused. But that just meant getting back on and reaching out to the community, but using that.
The Pacerettes did really well, and I was happy. We all had a lot of energy, and we enjoyed ourselves. And
I thought they did fairly well. They were nervous. They said their feet were hurting, but hey, it's the life of a dancer. So I would give anything to feet hurt, whatever you want to, or whatever you want to call it, just to march in a presidential parade, which is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
All right, let's go. Strap up. Let's bounce.
Are you? I'm like a ninja.
Yeah.
You don't see me coming. By the time you do, you're dead.
That's what we don't
African American Museum. This one's free though. Smithsonian's free.
Man, it was deep. Yeah, I tell you, you guys gave. You guys don't yell basic. I can see all these drummers getting new
people on the side of us was yelling it too.
They were yelling it too. They was like, we're not going to do it.
Wow. Y'all started doing that.
I mean, we can still go.
Go anywhere you want. Be back here at 3:45.
What stood out in my mind is because I'm a big fan of art, the museums. We went to the Smiths. We went to a lot of museums, but the one that stood up to me the most was the Smithsonian Museum, where we saw a bunch of artwork from around the world, a lot of paintings with a lot of historical value. So that I would say was the biggest monumental moment for me for the DC trip is the museums.
One of my favorite, one of the museum we went to was the spaceship museum. I really like that because I've never been to a museum like that, you know. Like it was like stories, you know, stories and stories of just a space museum. It was like stuff I never knew, you know, finding out new things, learning every day, you know, yeah.
Good.
It's a Saturday.
Where are we?
We are Alexander, Virginia. Virginia. Really? Came to a new state. Hey, I thought it took so long.
So I didn't know we were in a different state, right? So we're in a different state, right? Did I mention we were in a different state?
This is my friend.
Second half. It really wasn't good.
Oh my god, the best meal I had was in Alexandria, Virginia, and it was the I forgot what it was called. It was like the pasta, the cheese pasta or something like that.
Was it like the chicken parmesan?
Yeah, chicken parmesan.
I want to hear it. That she's right
Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this food we're about to see, Lord. Thank you for letting us be here and watch this, Lord, and letting us have this meal, Lord. Bless us, Lord, as we travel, and let us have a good time, Lord. Amen.
All right, good job. It's Alfredo. I'm sorry?
Today we're going to the Lincoln Memorial in the Vietnam. Today's our last day, and we had fun. We can't wait to get back home.
All right, good, great.
Well, you know, the kids they were excellent. You know, I've been working with kids for 50 some odd years, and I've taken kids all over the places, and they were so great there that they was obedient. They did what they was told. They went where they wanted to go. They had a good time, and they even said, you know, this was a great trip.
When we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring in every village and every hamlet, every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the word of the all-Negro spiritual. Free at last, great God Almighty, we are free at last.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
So where exactly?
Okay, yeah. When we go in, I'm going to give you the whole view of it before we go inside, but he's inside there. All right? Okay, so when you guys are here, okay. So, when you're standing here, one of the things you want to make sure that you see is going to be the time capsule. It's going to be reopened in 2061, right? I will be 100 years old. I will be here doing my tours. Okay?
This is going to be open in 61.
Say that on there, baby. Say that. That is all the, that's the secret. Come and see what's in there.
I felt encompassed by all the spirits of what historical value Washington, D.C. had. Martin Luther King was obviously a great monument to be at. I mean, the Lincoln, all of them. I can't really pick one.
Things that you want to think about, they wanted to give this given and dated on the day that he actually gave the speech. Oh, yeah. Right? So it would have been, well, how many? 28th. The 28th of August, 1963, when he gave that initial speech. So, but it was a hurricane that day. They had to postpone it, but they still kept the same date. And a lot of people, they criticize and say, why is it way out here? It's not way out here. It's alongside our
The few kids that did go, they loved it. They took back some stuff they can keep in their memories forever. It was very respected, respectful, and we had a great review. You know, from all around, the people that was there in the hotel said we were well mannered and everything. And it was great.
You should get my shirt.
So that's why this is a mountain that we're looking at, and the piece that's out of it is Dr. King himself saying, out of the mountain of despair, a stone of hope. So he represents the stone of hope, and we actually represent that piece that's going to finish it.
No, this is very neat. This is like 3 years old.
Okay.
I have to say the Martin Luther King Memorial because it's, you know, it's that same birthday month, and I just love everything about it.
Well, with monuments, the most memorable one would be the Martin Luther King monument. Being able to see his actual image and some of his quotes all over the walls, that was an amazing thing to see. It was beautiful.
You guys want to take a real picture? You got a rough shot? Okay? You guys
My favorite monument was the MLK. He's a powerful person.
I'm just gonna cover them like that. Go ahead.
I liked when this wasn't with the whole group, but it was me, Trinette, who was a chaperone, and James, and went on a night walk to the Washington Monument, I believe, and just looking at everything from right there at the monument and be able to look around the whole area and see the Lincoln Memorial from there and everything else. It was just nice and it was peaceful. And like, if I could do it again, I would love to.
My favorite part of going to DC was the Lincoln Memorial, because like I see it like on TV and on movies and stuff, and I thought I'd never get the chance to be able to see that, and being able to go to DC and see it and like look at everything that was there was a good opportunity.
Stood there and looked out.
I was born on it.
I didn't know until we came and saw this.
I'm just gonna
Watch on March Washington or Johnson. Yeah.
You can take a photo.
Where do you want?
Just with the thing.
My favorite part about the trip was seeing the Lincoln Memorial, because one of my favorite movies, Forrest Gump, features the Lincoln Memorial when they're giving a speech after the Vietnam War, I believe. And just being there and being able to see the same stuff that the actor saw made it feel like, it felt cool, because I never thought that I would be able to go there one day.
I'm standing here with Martin Luther King delivering his speech in 1963, the year I was born. I thank God for this moment. I came all the way from Sacramento, California. It's just something you never think you would ever be doing, but I thank God for it.
53 years old this year. I was able to stand right where Martin Luther King gave his speech, and that was really touching to me. That just caught me up, and man, it was just a blessing to be there, to see that, to feel that, to be in the midst of all this history, to get enriched on the things that I learned in elementary school, grade school, high school, to get all that and bring back and to be living that, and just to be, that's a dream itself. And it was just a blessing to be able to go with the drumline to DC, and it's just great, you know, and it was so much going on in my life that I was able to go there, you know, being a single parent and to do things like that. My kids were happy and everything, and I know I was really happy. My family was happy. My mother was excited, you know, and it was an emotional time for me, and just the whole trip all the way around, from when we went to different places, to the museums, to the different things that the chaperone showed us. It was just a blessing.
My favorite experience is going to see the White House and playing at the Independence Parade.
The reason why we're standing here, guys, is Frederick Douglass is the first free man that walks through the White House doors. And he was involved in the Civil War, and one of the positions he had several positions. He was U.S. Marshal for the District of Columbia, but he also was a president of the Freedmen's Bank. So once the freedmen were the newly freed slaves, they had to have a place for their money, because they're earning a living, and they had to be told where to live. So they would come to the Freedmen's Bureau. I remember who was the first one to set up the other Freedmen's Bureau? Selena Gray at the Arlington House. So this is an annex of the Treasury. We're not allowed to go in. However, they tell us in the basement are the vaults that those slaves used to save their money. It's still in place when they use this as a bank. All right?
And cut.
The White House, because I never imagined me going to the White House. The White House, because it is an honor.
Hey, we're here at the White House with Pacer and Drumline. It's our last day today. Wow, look at Deja. It's so beautiful.
About to go home. Mission accomplished. Done.
Did you guys have fun when you were in DC?
Yeah.
All right, what are your favorite memories?
The parade. The parade. No, probably when the Lincoln's Memorial. And this. The bed. It was all fun.
All right, thank you.
And I'll have to say it was thanks to Mr. V and everybody who participated in the drumline, but especially Mr. V because he organized all the performances and he took care of all the funds and paid for everything.
I'm special.
You're not special.
No, I'm
She thinks she's special. She's
I'm
special
different.
ed.
I am amazing. Awesome sauce.
Special ed. Awesome sauce. More like chef.
Get it right.
No, because I can't see. That's what's going on.
Flags are hanging in the middle. They have other statues, but they have what they call modesty shields because they didn't want them to be nudes, so they have modesty shields in front of them. Yes. Now the statue in front, to me, and I'll say this to like people that are over 21, this is that looks like Barnabas Collins to me, but it's really doesn't like Barnabas Collins, but right, and he actually is still alive, Barnabas Collins. Dark Shadows is actually yeah, that is Christopher Columbus. But you see right behind the flags, yes, there it is. Right. And then I want you guys to look right at the end of the Union Station. You see that little teeny building right with all the glass. That's the Securities and Exchange Commission. They were the ones that were watching Bernie Madoff. Wow.
Can you make that announcement again?
We're going back to Cali. Cali. Going back to Cali. I don't think so.
Yeah, we are.
Mr. V, what time does the actual flight leave?
Actual flight leave?
5:30.
5:30 we get off. But actually bound.
But I mean, we couldn't have did it without the drumline either because I mean, without us, we couldn't have played. So.
Well, let us know what's happening.
We're going back home.
All done, huh?
For me, for my opinion, for me as I'm Hmong, you know, I'm Hmong, so for in the community we live in, Hmong people like they don't go for like stuff like this, like they don't get nowhere. But for me, I'm actually really proud of myself how a Hmong boy actually got into something like this and actually did something big for himself, you know. Yeah, so I feel like I feel special, you know, going to Washington D.C., you know, playing for the president, and it's a really good experience, and I would never like forget about this, you know.
I'm going to add that I can't wait for the next trip. I love the drumline, and I'm not missing a thing.
It tells you the gate. Let me see your ticket. No, not your luggage, your ticket.
I know, it's stuck.
All right, so this one is from Las Vegas to Sacramento. This one is, wait a minute, they're both Las Vegas to Sacramento?
After this date.
Class event, Baltimore, Washington to Vegas. All right, so that one says Vegas to Washington. And boarding group is B, ticket B. Check monitor.
DC was nice to add on to the list, so and I wasn't new to flying, so it wasn't really that big of a deal to me.
First time to DC?
Yeah, first time to DC. I had never been to DC before.
Okay.
It's okay, I love them now.
No, they still
moving.
Get that line moving down inside. I got around here all the way. You know I gotta complain. That's how you get ahead of me. That's all right. I could have went.
Hey, for me to be where I was last year, that's a blessing.
it's a trip of a lifetime for them because they went to DC way before I went. This was my second trip, but my other trip was only like about 5 years ago. So to be back there again, I got to see more of what I didn't see the first time. And so it was great. It was beautiful. I loved it. And I hope to go again.
I would say from how I've grown is that I was able to get the experience on being able to travel with a dance team and being able to see what it's like with all the people around and the different environments, because we're on the West Coast and that's how it is on the East Coast, being able to see how things actually are and experience, say, things like the weather and being able to see different types of people.
I mean, the trip made me realize that you can't really give up on something. I mean, it just takes a lot of hard work, because it took a lot of hard work to get $100,000. That's not no pocket change. So, yeah, dedication, basically.
What I learned in DC was a lot of people went through a lot of stuff to make this country how it is today, and it was just honorable to have another history class lesson outside of school, but the information was more like, is it critical? Like made you think more about what this country has done, how we can do the things we do today because of what people did back then.
I learned that our ancestors went through all this like slavery and all these different things just for us to be here today and be equal. And everyone don't see each other like by our color, you see each other by our heart. And it's just a different feeling. It makes you like open my eyes more and pay respect to other people.
Oh, y'all would do extra. I just did one.
It was an exciting feeling, something that we never did before, and it was fun.
What?
Nobody wants to be home.
What?
Hey, we're home.
This trip, everything that we did, you know, all thanks to Mr. V, you know, like all of the hard work, all of the, you know, Mr. V is humble. He's a great man to bring like all of us to go over there to Washington D.C. and actually like play for the president. Like that's like an impossible thing, but we made it happen, so it is possible, you know. So anything you do is possible. Yeah.
Yay! Yay! You made it.
I mean, it was just like, there was a lot of smiles on the video. So, I mean, it's something that I'll keep. I probably will never lose that. I'm going to hold on to that for a while.
I feel sad. I kind of like DC. Yeah. I kind of like DC. And I like the parade.
But actually being there and experiencing and being able to see all these things made it more enjoyable than sitting in the classroom.
You're all happy.
He's gonna fall.
No, it was like this. It was like this.
Okay, we're
I'm grateful for being able to be a part of this group of drumline and being able to go experience different things, travel, learn something new every day, and I hope other people get a chance to do the things that I did in the future.
Alright. Alright, bye. I'm just waiting to get everyone here.
I like to thank Mr. V for letting me be a part of the drumline and experience this DC trip because I know it's a once in a lifetime chance, and I'm just honored that I was one of the ones who got to go because a lot of people didn't get to go.
That was you, because you're talking about, are you doing stuff now?
No, I was supposed to hold on. Your brother told me to slap cam your ass.
I want to thank God first and foremost for allowing us to have the opportunity, get there safely, get back safely, participate in the march, letting that happen. And then I want to say thanks to Mr. V. Without Mr. V, we probably wouldn't be able to organize this. I mean, he do a lot even before the invitation to the parade, taking us home, taking us to eat, getting us performances and the whole nine. So thanks, Mr. V. Much love for you, brother.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Hard work pays off.
This your boy Z-Eazy, and we're finna tell you about the 50 states.
Drumline with the hottest beats. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and with us. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time you show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and with us. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and witness. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and witness. Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and wait. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and wait. Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and witness. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and witness. Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York. That's where I'm going. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and witness. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming with us, just sit back and witness. North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina. Grand drumline, you know we break it down every time we show up. We gotta show out on a mission, trying to finish and get to the business. If you ain't coming
This is your boy Farashi in the studio with my girl Jay, Cynthia, Katie, Grant Drumline, and my boy Z-Heezy. We out.
Well, I remember one time we went to the mall when we were out there, and I was with James, and we were walking, and I look and I see a bunch of huge dudes. I see a little tiny dude in the middle of them. I'm like, James, that's Floyd Mayweather. And we was gonna approach Floyd, say what's up to him, but his bodyguards looked kind of aggressive, I guess you could say. So we just turned around and went the other way.